Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we, as you'll soon see, decipher corporate actions that sometimes seem like they're designed by a committee of robots. Today we're digging into Autodesk's latest proxy statement, and it's got a few surprises, like an unusually high emphasis on making things non-GAAP. This report outlines everything you as a shareholder need to know before you vote on key decisions. From electing directors to approving executive pay and a big change to their stock plan, we will decode it all. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can discuss these reports with other investors. Autodesk's had a pretty good year. Revenues up 12% to $6.1 billion. Operating income soared 19%. But here's the catch. It seems they're also pretty proud of their non-GAAP operating income, which is up 14% to $2.22 billion. Remember, non-GAAP means not generally accepted accounting principles. This is when companies start massaging the numbers. It means they're using a different set of rules to calculate their profits, typically excluding things like stock compensation, amortization of acquired tech, and restructuring cost. A lot of companies do this to make themselves look better, but keep an eye on it. It can hide problems. Cash flow is also up a healthy 23%, but these are just the highlights, and it's always better to look at the full story. Now, let's talk about the people in charge, the board of directors. The report emphasizes diversity, a separation between the chairman and CEO, and yearly director elections. They also held engagement with shareholders who own over 60% of the company, which is good. As of recently, the board is adding Jeff Epstein and Christine Simons as board members. However, the report also acknowledges the departure of 3 directors, McDowell, Norrington, and Raphael. They praise their replacements, of course, but this can be a mixed signal, and we must read between the lines. Is the company bringing in new blood to shake things up, or are they just losing some of their top talent and putting a PR spin on it? Here is a skills matrix showing that these board nominees have great finance and technology experience. As for the demographic metrics, 42% of the board members are diverse. Again, this emphasis on the appearance of diversity can be a good thing, but it can also signal a company that's more focused on optics than actual business. Let's get into the meat of the proxy statement, how they pay the top dogs. The goal, as is with any company, is to attract, motivate, and retain execs while aligning their goals with stockholder value. They link pay to performance both in the short term and long term. The key word here is alignment, because you can increase metrics while simultaneously destroying value. And how did the executives do in fiscal year 2025? Well, revenue, operating income, and free cash flow all went up. Naturally, the compensation committee paid bonuses that closely aligned with performance. This variable part is great. 95% of the CEO's pay and 91% of the other executives' pay is at risk, meaning they only get it if the company does well. The majority of that comes from long-term equity. They talk about say-on-pay votes and stockholder engagement. They took feedback to heart and made changes. The biggest one seems to be the longer performance periods, moving from 1 year to 3 years for performance share units. So basically, executives now have more incentive to think long-term. But is this what we truly wanted? According to the report, some stockholders are still concerned about how the cash flow is measured under this new business model. Autodesk has a new CFO, Janesh Moorjani, coming on board. It seems he got quite the welcome package to forego his precious awards from the prior employer. He is receiving a $500,000 sign-on bonus, a $650K yearly salary, time-based stock awards valued at over $10 million, and even more stock awards that vest over 3 years valued at $14 million. All these awards come with a few asterisks, of course. The report goes out of its way to explain the details behind their interim CFO's compensation for a few months worth of work, which sounds really uninteresting, so let's just pass that by. Autodesk also has a plan to ensure they continue receiving long-term equity compensation. To what extent the CEO compensation truly is at risk is up for debate. We can see Anagnost, the CEO, has almost $58 million in unvested stock awards, meaning there's a golden handcuff keeping him around. Now for the golden parachutes, what happens if the executives are terminated or there's a change of control? They outline a severance plan and change in control programs. If executives get canned without cause, they get a nice payout with accelerated vesting. It is required of them to own at least 3-6 times their yearly salary, which is all good. It is also worth noting they can't just sell or hedge their stocks. So it is aligned with company performance, and this seems very standard for these big companies. Autodesk can claw back bonuses if executives engage in misconduct that leads to a restatement of financials, a decent way to disincentivize fraud. So there's a vote on approving more shares for their equity plan. This is quite a big one. They're asking for 750,000 more shares. They say it's necessary to attract, retain, and motivate employees and align everyone with the stockholders. It seems the prior shares were depleting pretty fast. It also says that if they can't get this approved, employees may be incentivized to look elsewhere because of lack of compensation, and that would hurt shareholders. This might be true, but this sounds like a hardball tactic with the shareholders. Approve our executive compensation or the business might be hurt. Cantu Vidi shareholders approve our executive compensation or the business might be hurt. The report mentions approximately 95% of our eligible employees worldwide hold equity incentive award grants under the plan. It also mentions our commitment to reduce CO2 emissions, which I can appreciate. And now it seems like these changes are meant to better align long-term goals with company performance, which is fine, I suppose. That's what you always hear. A whopping $10 million went into audit fees. The same amount spent on marketing would be much more effective. Finally, a look at the ratio between the CEO's pay and the median employee's pay. Their median employee earned $143,780 per year. Their CEO made 175 times more than that, which hit $25 million. This is a high, but quite normal in these days and age in the tech industry. So what's the verdict? Autodesk is doing pretty well. They seem committed to sustainability and is making efforts to align compensation with long-term performance, which is excellent. But keep an eye on those non-GAAP numbers and potential dilution issues. As far as the board goes, it's unclear if these are simply changing chairs on the deck of the Titanic. It could be a legitimate refreshment of ideas, but it's very hard to say from the outside. Alright, that's our breakdown of Autodesk's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.